Life chances for young people are clearly one of the highest priorities for all public services, including the council. And in that context, the employment prospects for young people are one of the most important factors. Unemployment amongst young people 16 to 24 is still on average in Kirklees, compares well with other places, but in some parts of the district, in particular wards, it's much higher than the national average. That's not something that the council wishes to see continue, and that's why the economic strategy for the council includes looking at a number of ways of supporting young people into work. From apprentices through the work we do with young people who are NEET, and as well talking to young people themselves about what some of the challenges and barriers are. As a local authority, we seek to work with young people across the board. That includes working with the most vulnerable young people and those who are NEET. Some of whom, of course, we have parental responsibility for, as they are looked after children who we have a specific responsibility for. The principal way which we engage with young people is through our Young People's Council, which has a broad cross-representation across the district and for people from different backgrounds. We always want to see more young people engaging in that, so that it can be even more representative of young people, particularly those who are young, vulnerable. We also, as a council, seek to engage service users across the spectrum of things that we do in helping us to design our responses for vulnerable young people. So that would happen in all parts of the children's service. And indeed around apprenticeships and the council as an employer. Our highest priority for young people is to help them reach their potential. Clearly, as a council, we fully appreciate that's harder for young people who are vulnerable, and it ranges from everything from trying to ensure that there is an opportunity for people who are not in work to position themselves so they have a better chance of getting into work, through different routes into employment, and working with colleges, universities around skills training. Clearly there can be a relationship between crime, when young people have a lot of time on their hands, and those life chances. So we run particular programs as well with our partners to seek to make sure that young people have choices. I should say, and it's really important to say though, that just because young people have time on their hands doesn't make them criminals, that's not the way that the council considers how they behave. So I just come back to our priority is to help all young people, whatever their background, to reach their potential, recognising that young people themselves have a massive role in that as well. So it is about working with them. It's really important that we involve all our service users and citizens in the design of services, both those we provide and those that are provided and commissioned by communities themselves. That's as important for young people, perhaps more important for young people than any other service group. And we use a number of different mechanisms, everything from social media, feedback from frontline staff, the Children and Young People's Council, which I talked about earlier on, to feed through into the design of services and our own responses to young people's need. In particular, within the council, we have a young people's network. We have other networks as well, but we have a young people's network who have access to senior management, including me, and work on things that they would like to see the council do differently. Anyone can get involved in those young people's networks, and I do encourage, as do our directors, assistant directors, everyone to get involved in networks. It's to the benefit of individuals and to the benefit of the council. The council fully recognises the pressure and challenges for young people who might be unemployed, who may be struggling on the wage level that they have, who may not find it that easy to approach authority. My message to all young people, including those young people, actually is to look out your local councillor in the first instance. They are there to work for you, and they will feed through into the council's policy and decision making. But also make use of the opportunities that are there through school or college, if that's the setting you're in, employment, if that's your setting you're in, and come forward with your views on what should happen. From my point of view as an employer, there's nothing worse than a silent majority who may have things they want to see change but don't come forward and say what changes they'd like to see. I haven't yet touched on the role of families, who are the most important part of, as we all know, of young people achieving their potential. And so family support, and where family support isn't there as a bedrock for young people, is one of the factors that we try to take into account as a council in providing appropriate support and help. I would come back to, throughout this, I've been talking about the role of the council going forward. And as the council has fewer resources, which is the context we're in, it's more and more about designing services and approaches with the community, with young people and with their families in a way that doesn't involve the council as much. That's got to be better in the long term for young people and for their opportunities. In closing, I'd just like to reiterate what I said about wanting to hear from actually all the population in Kirklees. We've been running It's Time to Talk for some time. Please engage with those sessions. Please engage with your local councillors, who are the key to change. And please keep talking to your council.